All right, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one today. We are back with the final rankings today. I'm giving you my top 50 players in the NBA. We've done top 10 point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. It all combines together now to give my top 50 players in the NBA in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn on notifications, doing all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Link to our Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. Getting it started right away at number 50. We have Julius Randle of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Last year, Randle averaged 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 48% from the field, 34% from 3, 80% from the free throw line in 69 games. Randle in his first year in Minnesota started rough. The start of the season was not great. There's, him trying to fit in and, tension maybe with like him, Rudy Gobert, body language stuff. But eventually, the second half of the year, once he got back from his injury, he really started to kind of find his way in Minnesota, and he had a really good playoff run, which before this, he was known kind of as a playoff dropper, I guess. But in the playoffs, he did really good, averaging 21, 6, and 5 on 50, 38, 88 shooting splits. Did very well. Now he gets awarded with a contract in Minnesota, and he's there to stay. And I think this year is going to be a lot better than last year. After a full year now of, seeing what he's going to be in this offense and a great playoff run, I think next year is going to be a really good year for Julius Randle. And he still is like an all-star level type of guy. And it's really nice to see him finally kind of have a good playoff run and finally find his way in Minnesota, because I think he's going to be a big piece to this team next season. At number 49, we have Brandon Ingram of the Toronto Raptors. Last year, Ingram averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 46% from the field, 37% from 3, 85% from the free throw line in just 18 games. BI, now a member of the Toronto Raptors. We have not seen him as a Raptor yet. Only played in 18 games last year, and the injuries have been a big thing from Ingram. 3 of the last 4 seasons, he's played in less than 60 games. Last year was the worst of his career, only playing in 18 of them. But BI, I think, is still really good. I mean, he's had 4 consecutive seasons, basically almost 5 consecutive seasons of 25-5, which is very, very impressive, especially for a guy that's not like a number one superstar type of dude. And honestly, I'm kind of a little bit optimistic about his time in Toronto. I think him and Scotty Barnes could be a really nice duo. I think he can handle a lot of the ball handling responsibilities. I think his passing is pretty underrated, being a kind of a go-to scorer a little bit. I won't be surprised if he's like the leading scorer of the Raptors next year. And yeah, and hopefully he can stay kind of healthy. I'm not expecting him to play a full 82 because he's never played. He's only had 1 year where he's played more than 65 games. And that was his rookie season. So I'm not expecting him to be, this Iron Man. But if he could just play a majority, get to 55, 60 plus, then I think that would be a win for the Raptors. And I think that could be very good for him because I think he can have a really nice season next year in Toronto. At 48, we have Austin Reeves of the LA Lakers. Last year, Reeves averaged career high 20 points, 4.5 rebounds, almost 6 assists and a steal. All those numbers career highs. Shooting 46% from the field, 37% from 3, 87% from 3 line, also career high in 73 games. Austin Reeves had a really good season last year. He became the full-time starter, finally, again. He had a lot more ball handling responsibilities, especially in the first half of the season, where they're putting him at point guard a lot more, and he was making things happen. He was having big scoring games, really nice, passing games, handling the ball a lot more, and just he was doing really good. And then Luka comes to town, and he kind of more becomes a scorer. And I'm very interested to see how his role looks like next year in LA, because with LeBron and Luka, obviously the playmaking duties are not going to go down for him, but this could open up more scoring opportunities. So where if he can be a consistent 20 plus point per game scorer next to LeBron and Luka and be something that they can rely on, I think that could be huge for him and for the Lakers. To have some consistency next to those two, because those two are always going to be able to play make and whatever. And even when those two are out, or one of those two is out or whatever, he could come in and he can make plays as well. I was very excited about Austin Reeves last season. I think he did a very good job, and I'm very interested to see what his role looks like next season, and if he can find some consistency in there next to those two stars. At number 47, we have Desmond Bane of the Orlando Magic. Last year, Bane averaged 19 points, 6 rebounds, a career high, 5 assists and a steal, shooting 48% from the field, a career high, 39% from 3, 89% from the free throw line in 69 games. Bane was not as great last year as he was the previous few years, numbers-wise, but he's still pretty solid. 19, 6, and 5 is pretty good. Good efficiency shooting the ball. And now he goes to Orlando, where I think is a great move Now he gets to go to a team that really needs him. I mean, the Magic, we all know, need 3-point shooting, and Bane has been one of the best 3-point shooters in his career. He shoots 41% from three on 6 attempts. So he is a knockdown 3-point shooting, provides a lot more perimeter play. And yeah, I'm very excited to see Bane in this new role. Now is kind of, I expect him to kind of be maybe a little more of a point guard as well. I expect him to have some lead ball type of moments because last couple years in Memphis, when John Morant was out, he was doing a lot more of that, handling the ball and getting people set. I mean, he averaged over 5 assists per game over the last 2 seasons. So he's been getting better there. I don't expect him to be the full-time point guard, but I do expect him to have a lot more of a lead ball tendencies. I'm very excited to see him now with this new big three, I guess, in Orlando: Apollo, Franz, and him, because I think he's going to do wonders over there for Orlando. At number 46, we have DeMar DeRozan of the Sacramento Kings. Last year, DeRozan averaged 22 points, almost 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 47% from the field, 32% from three, 85% from the free throw line in 77 games. DeMar DeRozan still doing his thing. Numbers did drop last season, but that's also because you got to think he played with Sabonis, Fox for the first half of the year, and then Levine for the second half of the year, and all that stuff. But DeMar was still a consistent 20 points per game, still playing like DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, it's just a weird time over there in Sacramento where we don't know what's happening for their future and all that stuff. I think there were some rumors this offseason of them trying to trade DeRozan, but nothing really happened because DeRozan's an interesting player. He's a very interesting fit. He's 36 years old now. I don't know how many teams will want to pay DeMar DeRozan that much money at 36, but I mean, he's still got, man. Again, he's still a walking 20 points per game. So I mean, he can still do it. He's still good, and I can't wait to see how he ages. By the time in another few years, if he's still a 20-point per game scorer and how well he's doing, if he does eventually add a decent 3-point shot at some point in his career. But yeah, DeMar, still really good. I still am a big fan of DeMar DeRozan. Still solid. And yeah, can't wait to see him get more buckets. At number 45, we have Jalen Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks. Last year, Johnson averaged over 19 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, over 1.5 steals, and a block. All those numbers are career highs, while shooting 50% for the field, 31% from three, 74% for the free throw line, also career high in 36 games. Sucks that we only got to see 36 games of Jalen Johnson, but he was very, very good. He's really emerged as like the number 2 in Atlanta, and I think he could definitely be an all-star this upcoming season. He's a guy that uses his athleticism very, very well. A really solid ball handler for a 6'9" forward. In transition, he's really, really good. Great finishing ability, makes the right passes, rebounds well, defends well. He's just a guy that fills up the stat sheet. He's gonna have games with dang near triple doubles and all that stuff. And I think he's a very nice counter to Trae Young, where he can use his size and athleticism to get to like the center of the floor, and be able to make a pass, make a play, make a finish, and do all that type of stuff. And I think if the Hawks do have the type of year that everyone thinks they can have next season with this new team, Jalen Johnson will be a big focal point of that. And I think he can definitely make an all-star team because he just will have the numbers and will have the highlight plays, and he'll just be an integral piece to this Atlanta Hawk team going forward in the future. So I'm hoping that he stays healthy for the entirety of the year so we can see a full season of this. At number 44, we have Franz Wagner of the Orlando Magic. Last year, Wagner averaged over 24 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. All those numbers career highs, shooting 46% from the field, 29% from three, 87% from the free throw line, also career high in 60 games played. Franz had a really nice first half of the year. When Paolo went down with his injury, Franz was amazing. He was looking like an all-star, looking like an all-NBA type of player, and then unfortunately he got hurt, and when he came back, he just wasn't as great as he was early in the season. But I really like Franz. As a forward, he does so many different things well. He can handle the ball. He's really good at finishing around the rim, very crafty finisher. Defends well, can handle the ball. He showed a lot of playmaking ability last season too, in that early part of the year when Paolo was out. Defensive, he's solid. It's just really the 3-point shot. Early in his career, first 2 years of his career, he shot 35 and 36% from three. Last 2 years, he shot under 30% from three. So his 3-point shot kind of went away. But right now, he's playing overseas in Eurobasket, and he's got his team in the championship game, and he looks very, very good over there. The jump shot looks a lot better. So I'm very excited for next year because honestly, really, it's just about the jump shot. If the jump shot can be serviceable, not saying he needs to be a crazy lights out 3-point shooter, but if he could just be more similar to what he was early in his career, around 35, 36%, I think that could be huge for Orlando in the future. But I'm a big fan of Franz. I think he'd have a really nice year. Maybe not. His numbers might drop from last year because now he has, Paolo hopefully for a healthy year and Desmond Bane now. But I think he'll still make the similar impact as he did last season and be a big piece for Orlando. At number 43, we have Scotty Barnes of the Toronto Raptors. Last year, Barnes averaged 19 points, 7 rebounds, almost 6 assists, 1.4 steals, a career high, and a block, shooting 44% from the field, 27% from three, 75% from the free throw line in 65 games. Scotty is still really, really good. Made the All-Star team the year before. Last year, numbers very similar. Dropped a little bit, but basically the same-ish numbers. The only thing that's dropped is the efficiency. Last year was the worst efficiency season of his career. He shot 27% from three when he shot 34% the year before. So you would like to see the efficiency go up, and I think it will. I think Scotty Barnes could be in line to make another All-Star game next season. I think for the Raptors, I think he could be like their point guard. I think he's going to be the guy that has the ball the most. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to be in control of the offense. I think his assist numbers could be very high. And I think he's one of those guys where he gets better playing with good players. And he's going to have guys like BI, RJ, IQ, Pirtle. Like, he's going to have a solid team around him next year. So I think his numbers could be career highs all around the board. I think he can really shine next year. I think he's going to be the lead ball handler. I think he's going to put everyone in the right position, make things happen. We already know what he can do defensively. And I think his efficiency will go up because I think he's going to have a lot more shooters and scorers around him. So that will help as I think his efficiency go up next year. So I think Scotty could be in line to have a really nice season next year. Maybe make an all-star team depending on how good the Raptors are. At 42, we have Zach LaVine of the Sacramento Kings. Last year, LaVine averaged 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, shooting 51% from the field, 44% from three, both those numbers career highs, and 82% for the free throw line in 74 games. Zach LaVine was really, really good last year. The efficiency, crazy. Shot 51%, 44% from three in Chicago and in Sacramento, same percentages. Points per game were still at a high. And yeah, just doing really, really good. The year before, he only played 25 games due to injury, and there's a lot of talk about Zach LaVine and trade rumors, like how good is he actually and all that stuff. And I'm a big fan of Zach LaVine. I really like him a lot. And I think he's just very efficient scorer. He's a guy that could just go get a bucket whenever he needs to. I think the defense and the passing has been slightly improved. A little bit more the passing than the defense, obviously. Now he's in Sacramento, where I guess he's going to be there for a little while and be putting up big numbers. But yeah, I think Zach had a very underrated season last year. I think, again, the efficiency was super high. He has some really nice moments over there. And I'm very excited to watch him go hoop again next year because he's one of my favorites to watch, especially when he gets hot. When he gets hot and on fire, I feel like he's just one of the most fascinating guys to watch. At 41, we have De'Aaron Fox of the San Antonio Spurs. Last year, Fox averaged 23.5 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1.5 steals, shooting 46% from the field, 31% from three, and 82% for the free throw line, a career high in 62 games. De'Aaron had a really good year with Sacramento. 45 games, 25 points per game, 25, 5, and 6, doing his thing. Got to San Antonio and wasn't as great. The numbers definitely dropped. The efficiency dropped before, he was out for the year with a wrist injury. But De'Aaron is still, I think, one of the more underrated guys in the league. The point guard position right now is so stacked that unfortunately he wasn't on my top 10 point guard list. He was like literally the last, like number 11 he probably was going to be. Because I think he's really, really good. His speed, his defense, his playmaking has gotten better. The scoring ability, especially in the mid-range area, to be able to get to the basket has been very good. I'm very excited to see now a full offseason, now a full year with him in San Antonio, with him and Wemby, because we didn't really get to see a lot of it. We got a very, very, very small sample size last season. And yeah, I'm very excited to see him and Wemby play. Very excited to see Wemby have a point guard with the athleticism and the play style that De'Aaron Fox has. And I think if he can be good next year, if De'Aaron can be really good next year next to Wembanyama, I think that could do big things for him in the future. At number 40, we have LaMelo Ball of the Charlotte Hornets. Last year, LaMelo averaged over 25 points a game, a career high, with 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal, shooting 40% from the field, 34% from three, 84% from the free throw line in 47 games. LaMelo was having like an all-star, all-NBA level season early in the year before, unfortunately, injuries hit again. He was very in and out of the lineup for majority of the second half and the end of the season. But LaMelo did some great things. He had a 50-point game against Milwaukee. Like, he was really good. And I'm a big LaMelo Ball fan. I really, really like LaMelo. But unfortunately, he's a little bit lower on this list than he should be because of injuries. The last 3 years, he hasn't played in more than 50 games. And it's just really tough when you have a superstar type player that you can't count on to play in even half the games of the season. Because when LaMelo's out there and playing, the Hornets are a lot better of a team. You know, LaMelo really makes the Charlotte Hornets the Charlotte Hornets. And it's unfortunate that he can't really be out there to be healthy because I feel like LaMelo, if he's fully healthy, he's a lot higher on this list than some of the guys that I'm going to talk about next. Like, I think he's better than a lot of guys that I'm going to talk about that are higher than them on this list. But because of the injuries, because he can't really stay out there healthy, I have to kind of put him a little bit more down. But I still think LaMelo is really good. And if he ever has that one healthy season, man, then I think he can make it back to the All-Star game, be an All-NBA type player. Like, he can really, show everybody that, hey, I'm still very, very good. At number 39, we have Tyler Hero of the Miami Heat. Last year, Hero averaged almost 24 points per game, career high, with 5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, career high, 47% shooting from the field, career high, 37% from three, 87% from the free throw line in 77 games, and made his first All-Star team. Tyler Hero was amazing last year for Miami. After a couple injury-plagued year the year before, he came out and was really good, with Jimmy Butler, going and that whole situation happening. Bam Adebayo wasn't as great last year. Hero really stepped up. I mean, he became the not full-time point guard, but he became a lead ball handler for them. His passing ability was really good, over 5.5 assists. The three-point shooting got a lot better. He was more of a mid-range type of get to the bucket guy, but he took a lot more three-pointers last year, and he was making them happen. He had some really big moments. Like, he was amazing last season for Miami. Awarded with an All-Star game. And yeah, now it's very interesting to see what's going to happen next year for Hero. Is he going to have a similar type of year? Because Miami's going to desperately kind of really need it with the team they have. They're going to really need him to they need him to be like, this is Tyler Hero now. And so next year's going to be a big deciding year of like, is this who Tyler Hero is now? Is he a 24, 25 point per game scorer, lead ball handler type of guy? Or is he going to go back to what he was more like the past couple years? Where he was just more of a bucket getter. Like, is he going to regress next year? Is he going to get better? Who knows? So that's really the big question mark. But Hero, like, very impressive last season. Number 38, we have Darius Garland of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last year, Garland averaged over 20 points, almost 3 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal, shooting 47% for the field, career high, 40% from 3, 87% for the free throw line in 75 games, and made the All-Star team. Darius Garland had a really nice year. The last couple years, he's kind of slowed down a little bit with Donovan Mitchell. That duo was still kind of trying to figure it out. Kenny Atkinson comes in, and Garland has, I think, his best season. Even though his numbers won't show it, I feel like it was one of the best seasons for Darius Garland. I think he was very under control. Him and Donovan finally learned how to play together, playing off each other. The shooting was very, very efficient, career high shooting last season. Clutch player of the year votes as well. He was really clutch especially early in the year, the first half of the season when the Cavs were going on big win streaks and stuff. I think he had a lot of big games and shots made in the fourth quarter, and I really like to see he was a lot more under control. Unfortunately, he got injured again in the playoffs, missed a lot of time there where he wasn't great shooting the ball. But DG still very solid, still a really good guard in this league in terms of scoring, playmaking, shooting, all that type of stuff, and being able to hit shots in the clutch. And yeah, this is a big year for the Cavaliers, and Garland's gonna have to really be healthy, especially when it comes playoff time. Garland's gonna have to have that nice playoff run for them if the Cavs want to get to the level that they want to get to. At number 37, we have Alperen Sengun of the Houston Rockets. Last year, Sengun averaged 19 points, over 10 rebounds to career high, almost 5 assists and a steal, shooting 49% from the field, 23% from 3, 69% for the free throw line in 76 games, and made the All-Star team. Sengun had a really good year. The year before, he really broke out. Last year, he did similar things. The numbers dropped a little bit, but it was basically about the same. And he's really established himself as the future of the Houston Rockets. And now with the Rockets making all these moves, now Kevin Durant is there. And I think Sengun can have a career year next season. I think his scoring and assist numbers can both be career highs. I think the spacing now with KD and the additions that the Rockets have added can really help him work on the interior a lot more and work in the post that he likes to. I think he has more weapons now where I think the assist numbers can jump up a lot as well. He's killing it over right now in Eurobasket. He got his team in the championship game. He's been having a dominant tournament. And so that really has me excited for what next year could be like. And he's still 23 years old. He still has a lot more developing to do, especially with, his efficiency could get better and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm very excited for Alperen Sengun next year. I think he could be an all-star for sure, especially if the Rockets are as good as we expect them to be. I think him and Durant probably can make the all-star team for Houston. And maybe some All-NBA conversations. I don't know. Maybe not yet, right now, but I think maybe some All-NBA conversations could be in the mix if the Rockets are really, really good. At number 36, we have Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. Last year, Zion averaged over 24.5 points, 7 rebounds, along with 5 assists and a steal. Both those numbers career highs, while shooting 56% from the field, 23% from 3, 65% from the free throw line in 30 games played. I think Z has gotten a lot better over the last few years. I think his playmaking has gotten a lot better. His defense has been slightly improved. I think last year he played really well when he did play. Unfortunate that the injuries. He did play 70 games back in 2024, but unfortunately missed the play-in game in the playoffs. And then last year only played in 30 games. So unfortunately he has to get put down the list a little bit. Kind of like what I said what about Lonzo Ball, where I think he's better than a lot of the people I'm going to talk about next. But because of his injuries and stuff, and we can't rely on him to be there for a lot of the season, he has to kind of come down a little bit. But Zion, I still am a big fan of Zion. I still kind of on the Zion train. I think he's still really good, an all-star, all NBA like player in this league. It's just the injuries. If he could just stay healthy, he'd be very, very good. But I think he's been very improved, but no one really cares because everyone's kind of off the Zion hype a little bit because of the injuries and because of a lot of other things. But I think Z is really improving. He's still 25 years old. He's still very, very young, and he still has a lot of time left in this league. And so I'm just hoping for that one healthy Zion year, man. I'm just hoping for that one healthy Zion year where he dominates and makes All NBA and stuff again. At 35, we have Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. Last year, Draymond averaged 9 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, and a block, shooting 42% from the field, 32% from three, 68% from the free throw line, in 68 games. Made all defensive first team. Draymond had one of his better years. I mean, this was his best statistical season since 2018. So it's been a long time. All defensive first team, top 3 in DPOY voting, his highest finish since 2021. We all know the numbers will never show the real impact of Draymond Green. These numbers are just not anything super spectacular, but it's the impact on the court. The defense, one of the best defenders we've seen in a very, very long time. We know he's the engine of the Golden State Warriors with his playmaking, his passing ability, getting everything in the right spot. He is like the engine that fuels Golden State. And so we know he's always going to make a bigger impact than what the stat sheet shows us. We know he has a lot of other things like the fouls and the technical fouls and flagrant fouls and all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, he's still a very impactful player. And without him, who knows what the Warriors look like? So Draymond doing his thing still at age 35, still getting paid, still doing his thing, still making all defensive first teams like nothing. Shout out to him. At 34, we have Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat. Last year, Bam averaged 18 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal, shooting 48% from the field, 35% from three, career high, and 76% from the free throw line in 78 games. Bam was solid last year. He wasn't as great as we wanted him to be. His numbers dropped from the previous 2 seasons in terms of scoring and shooting the ball wise. I just want to see him be more aggressive, especially the first half of the year. He was not very aggressive. Taking the least amount of shots, taking the same amount of shots he did last year while shooting a lower percentage on them. The free throw shooting, this is the least amount of free throw attempts he's taken since the second season in the NBA. Just the aggressiveness was not really there. We know what he does defensively. He still finished top 10 in DPOY voting, still doing his thing there. Just offensively, you want to see more of him. He did get better as the year progressed, and at the end of the season, he was a lot more used to like what we were used to seeing from Bam. But I like to see him be more aggressive and, take more shots and attack the basket a lot more and stuff. He did start taking threes. He took almost 3 3-point attempts per game, shooting 35%. That's pretty nice for someone that's never really been a 3-point shooter like that. So I guess we're probably going to be accustomed to seeing Bam become a 3-point shooter now. But yeah, we just want to see him be more aggressive and be a bigger focal point of the offense. And at 33, we have Domantas Sabonis of the Sacramento Kings. Last year, Sabonis averaged 19 points, almost 14 rebounds per game, a career high, and led the league, along with 6 assists while shooting 59% from the field, 41% from three, and 75% for three line, a career high in 70 games played. Sabonis, one of the guys that doesn't really get talked about as much as I feel like he kind of should. He does play for the Kings, though, and the Kings are kind of in a weird spot, and, defensively, he's not really great. But offensively, he is a force. I mean, a bruiser, down low in the interior, get buckets in the paint. His passing, he's one of the best passing big men in the league. A rebounding machine. 3 years in a row, he's led the league in rebounds per game. Just does it. And then last year, he had to take a lot more threes, only 2 a game, and shot 41%. All those shots are wide open, but he was making them when he was getting them. So yeah, Sabonis is really solid. He's a really good offensive player. And now he's in Sacramento. They're in a weird situation right now where they're not good, but they're not bad. They got some good players on their team, though. There was even reports last year about Sabonis talking to the front office about what his future is going to be, because I think he's up for a contract pretty soon. I'm not 100% sure when. But yeah, Sabonis, still very solid. He's definitely an interesting fit. on a lot of teams because, again, he's not a great defender. He kind of needs the ball in his hands a little bit as a big. So he's a very interesting fit, but I think he's still a very good big in this league. At 32, we have Pascal Siakam of the Indiana Pacers. Last year, Pascal averaged 20 points, almost 7 rebounds and 3 assists, shooting almost 52% from the field, 39% from three, a career high, 73% from the free throw line in 78 games, and made the All-Star team. Pascal, really solid regular season. Numbers dropped from the previous couple years, but still really good. The efficiency was high as ever. Three-point shooting, career year from there. And then the playoffs, he was just amazing. I mean, playoffs, he averaged 26 and 3 with a steal, 51, 42, 71 shooting splits, brought the team all the way to Game 7 of the NBA Finals, won Eastern Conference Finals MVP, was just amazing. I mean, Pascal, I feel like, has been one of the more underrated players in the last couple years in Toronto. I feel like he was not getting the respect he deserved, and now he finally does get it after this amazing playoff run. Big games. He's a really good all-around player, just does so many things well on the court, doesn't really do much wrong. Can score the ball from many different areas, handle the ball well, pass the ball well, defend well. He's really good, man. He's really, really skilled. And I'm very interested to see what happens next year with no Tyrese Halliburton. He's probably going to have to be he's going to be the number one in Indiana. Probably can have an all-star, maybe an all-NBA type season, depending on if he can keep the Pacers afloat and have them a lot better than what we expect him. Maybe he could be an all-NBA type player next year. Who knows? But Pascal, I love that he's finally getting the respect he deserves because he is very, very good. At number 31, we have Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies. Last year, Jaren averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and 1.5 blocks, shooting 48% from the field, 37% from 3, 78% from the free throw line in 74 games with the All-Star team and All-Defensive second team. Jaren, we all know defensively he's really good. Won a DPOY a couple years ago. This year, his third all-defensive team, finished top 7 in DPOY voting. But it's been the offense that's really jumped. Last year, 2024, when the Grizzlies were bad, he really broke out as the number one, as their offensive guy with no Ja and Desmond Bane. And last year, even with Ja and Desmond Bane back and a lot better of a team, he still basically put up the same numbers. So offensively, he's been really good. The efficiency also jumped last year, also because he was taking less shots and he had more guys around him. The efficiency was really good. I mean, a guy that could give you 22 points per game while give you elite level defense that he does is like so key. And now, honestly, he's probably gonna have to take another jump offensively next year with no Desmond Bane. That's another 20 points per game gone. Like that, Jaren's probably gonna have to have another probably career year offensively if the Grizzlies want to, get back to the playoff picture and all that stuff. So I'm very interested to see how Jaren looks. He did have a procedure this offseason, so I don't know what the timeline looks like, if he's going to miss any games in the regular season or anything like that. But I know Jaren's probably going to have a big offensive year next season, but it's really nice to see how much he's improved on that side of the ball. At number 30, we have Jimmy Butler of the Golden State Warriors. Last year, Butler averaged 17.5 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and almost 1.5 steals, shooting 50% from the field, 30% from 3, 84% from the free throw line in 55 games. Jimmy, now in Golden State, was pretty solid. I like his fit in Golden State, even though the numbers aren't the same. His numbers have definitely dropped over the past few years than what it was like. And I expect to kind of be around this for the next couple years. I like his fit in Golden State. I think his impact is very huge. I think he's a huge piece of this Warriors team. He makes them a whole lot better. Having a number 2 next to Steph Curry that can also score. His post-up game has been very good. I like his playmaking ability. Last year, he averaged almost 6 assists when he's played with Golden State. That would have been a career high or almost a career high. I like his playmaking there. He finds cutters and all that. He can score down low in the low post. He can take over games sometimes. Defensively, he can fit into this scheme. I just really like his fit over there in Golden State. I like what I saw last year, and it's fortunate that Steph got hurt in their second round series because who knows what we could have seen from him and Steph in that series against Minnesota. But I think of now a full offseason with Golden State coming into next year, I think I'm going to like what I see from Jimmy next year because I think he really fits this system well. At number 29, we have Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. Last year, Maxey averaged over 26 points per game, a career high, with 3 rebounds, 6 assists, almost 2 steals, a career high, while shooting 43% from the field, 33% from 3, 88% from the free throw line, another career high in 52 games played. Maxey was really good last year. I mean, he broke out big in 2024, MIP, All-Star, was amazing. And last year, he got even better. It's unfortunate that he didn't have Joel and Paul George around. The efficiency dropped, but you also have to think that he was the number one, and he was having to force up a lot of shots. And obviously, Joel Embiid and Paul George there makes his life a whole lot easier. But it's also still interesting that even with being the number one and all that attention basically being on him, he still averaged 26 and 6. You know, like he still was putting up big numbers, and he's pretty high on this list only because I just think he has grown to be like he's knocking on the door of like dang near like elite point guard in the NBA. You know, with his speed combination, along with his amazing 3-point shooting. I mean, he's been really efficient shooting the three ball with, you know, a big amount of attempts. His ability to go get a bucket, his passing ability has vastly improved as well from his first couple years compared to his last 2 years. Like he just has become an amazing a star offensively. You know, he just really has become that. And obviously, we knew we want to see Joel and Paul George back in this full healthy team. But even then, like Maxi with those guys is just even better. You know, so we look at last year, he still averaged 26 and 6 with basically his two stars not being there. With those two come back, his life is going to be so much easier, and those numbers are going to be really, really looking good. At number 28, we have Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers. Last year, Lillard averaged almost 25 points per game with 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal. He shot 44% from the field, 37% from three, 92% from the free throw line in 58 games, and made the All-Star team. Dame, you know, wasn't perfect in Milwaukee. You know, the numbers kind of dropped a little bit, but he was still solid, still made an All-Star team both years. Fortunately, he had the injury, you know, the Achilles injury, so he's probably not going to play next season, which is, again, very, very, very unfortunate. But now he's back in Portland, which I love a lot. You know, he gets to go back home, back where he's comfortable at, get to chill out a little bit, have some good young players, be able to mentor guys. Like, I really love that he's back in Portland. You know, it fits. But yeah, Dame is still an elite guard. Obviously, we're waiting to see what he looks like coming back from his Achilles injury. But honestly, I don't think he's going to look too different. I mean, he's not a guy that really relies on athleticism and dunking and, you know, insane speed or anything like that. I mean, he's one of the most elite shooters we've seen in the game. So as long as his shooting ability is still there, he can still handle the ball a little bit. Like, I think he'll still be fine. You know, so I'm not worried for Dave. I just hope, you know, wishing for speed recovery and, you know, can't wait to see him back in another 2 years. Number 27, we have Kyrie Irving of the Dallas Mavericks. Last year, Irving averaged 24 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal, shooting 47% from the field, 40% from three, 91% from the free throw line in 50 games, made the All-Star team. Kyrie, really amazing last year. It's unfortunate that he also had the ACL injury. We don't know when he's going to come back this upcoming season. But Kyrie still being Kyrie, still doing his thing. The efficiency is still very elite. You know, I was loving the way he was the number 2 next to Luka. I feel like he was really shining over there. I mean, that finals run, he was absolutely amazing. Now he's back to kind of being the number 1, I guess. I mean, Anthony Davis is still there, and Anthony Davis is the better player. But he's going to be more of the perimeter creating number 1, which is obviously going to be very fun to watch with Kyrie. But just very interested to see how he looks, especially now coming off a torn ACL, how much he's going to be able to excel in that role. Not saying he's going to be bad in that role, but just seeing how good the Mavericks are with him being the number 1 perimeter guy, you know, and being probably the number 1 like scoring option now in Dallas. But yeah, hopefully we get to see Kyrie back as soon as possible because obviously who doesn't love watching Kyrie Irving, you know, hoop still at this point. At number 26, we have Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. Last year, Morant averaged 23 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal, shooting 45% from the field, 31% from three, 82% from the free throw line, a career high in 50 games played. Ja wasn't as amazing as we have seen him back at 22 and 23. You know, kind of dropped down a little bit. These are his worst numbers since 2021 before he was an All-Star. So very tough year for Ja, but you know he still could be star-like. You know he's still a star. He still has his moments. Just want to see more consistency throughout the entire year, more moments consistently, really. I just want to see him be able to take over games as easily as he did a couple years ago. You know, I want to see him have a type of year, especially he's going to need it with no Desmond Bane, the Grizzlies, you know, in that weird spot in the middle of the West where it's a bloodbath. Ja's going to have a superstar All-NBA type of season for the Grizzlies, and I want to see that happen. I think there's a good likelihood of that happening because Ja, I feel like, is still a star guard in this league. He's still one of the best young players. He's going to have to really turn it up. I want to see, again, more moments consistently. Hopefully he has a healthy year. You know, last couple years he hasn't really been healthy. So hopefully we can get a 65-game type of season for Ja, too. And yeah, I just hope he's going to have it all NBA season next year. And I think if he does have that, he climbs up this list a lot higher. But yeah, just want to see more, you know, takeover superstar-like moments more consistently for Ja next season and really, you know, put his name back on the map. At number 25, we have Jalen Williams of the OKC Thunder. Last year, Jada averaged over 21.5 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and over 1.5 steals. All those numbers are career highs while shooting 48% from the field, 36% from three, 79% from the free throw line in 69 games. Made the All-Star team, All-NBA third team, and All-Defensive second team. It was an amazing year for Jada. I mean, career 21-5-5, All-NBA, All-Defense, won a championship, was number 2 on a championship team where he averaged 21-5-4, won almost 1.5 steals in the playoffs, had a 40-point game in the finals. A huge year for Jada. I mean, maybe even though his numbers might not be as crazy as people around him on this list, maybe he's a little bit higher than he should be on this list, maybe because of the championship hangover or whatever. But Jada was fascinating last year. I mean, all NBA and all defensive is very hard to do. And he did it as a 23-year-old. Like, he made all NBA and all defensive, number 2 on a championship team, and looks like he's going to be like an all NBA type of player for the next couple of years, especially as a number 2 option. I mean, being a number 2, a clear fire number 2 option next to an MVP and still being able to be an all NBA caliber player that puts up the numbers that J-Dub does and makes the impact that J-Dub does is just so phenomenal to have on your roster. So, Jalen Williams, very good. He's been good since he came into the NBA, and last year was a big explosive year, and I'm excited to see how he can continue to grow off this season. At number 24, we have James Harden of the LA Clippers. Last year, Harden averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and 1.5 steals, shooting 41% from the field, 35% from three, 87% from the free throw line in 79 games, made the All-Star team and All-NBA third team. James Harden was spectacular last season for the Clippers, especially in the first half of the year with no Kawhi Leonard. He really put the team on his back and brought him back to the playoffs. One of the better floor raisers. He's never missed the playoffs in his career. He was amazing. Got MVP votes last season. Still dominant. Still showing that even at the age of 35, he is still an offensive system. He's still a guy that can put everybody in the right position. Facilitate for everybody. Score the ball well. Just being a amazing offensive engine. He can still do that at this age, and it's very exciting to watch still. Even as I think I say every time I talk about the Clippers, talk about James Harden. Before the year, I wasn't a big believer in this Clipper team and James Harden and all that, and he proved me wrong right away. And yeah, now with this Clipper team being really good, and now this team, bringing in reinforcements and looking great. I'm expecting Harden to do very similar things, and expecting him to have another amazing season next season. At number 23, we have Karl-Anthony Towns of the New York Knicks. Last year, Towns averaged 24 points, 12.8 rebounds, a career high with 3 assists and a steal, shooting 52% from the field, 42% from three, 83% from the free throw line in 72 games, made the All-Star team and All-NBA third team. Last year, in his first year in New York, you can make your argument it was Karl-Anthony Towns' best season. I mean, he was dominating, 24-12, shooting the ball of crazy efficiency, 52-42, doing his thing, All-NBA, almost leading the league in rebounds. Like, he was just a dominant force on the offensive end for New York and helped them reach the conference finals with a solid playoff run as well. Obviously, the big concerns are always going to be about the defense, the fouling, and can he be a, impactful center on a championship winning team and all that stuff. But what he does offensively is just so insane to have. Having a guy offensively as a 7-footer that can do the things that Cat does. And, I mean, he's going to have to be huge, especially in the playoffs. I want him to have a great playoff run. Next year, we know the Knicks are going to be really good. And I think him having a great playoff run can bring the Knicks to the finals and do the things that the Knicks want to do. Staying out of foul trouble is one thing. He's never going to be an all-defensive type of guy, but just being solid enough there while being able to do the great things offensively and having a consistent offensive playoff run, I think can really do wonders for the Knicks next year. So I hope he has a great playoff run. But Cat has been dominant. I'm looking forward to another dominant season from him next year. At number 22, we have Evan Mobley of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last year, Mobley averaged 18.5 points, a career high, along with 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and over 1.5 blocks, shooting 55% from the field, 37% from three, 72% from the free throw line, a career high in 71 games. Made the All-Star team, All-NBA second team, won DPOY, made All-Defensive first team. An amazing year from Emo, from the Cavs as a whole itself. But Evan Mobley was great. We already know defensively he's one of the most elite defenders in the league. Finally won a DPOY last season. But it was his offense that really took a big jump. I mean, he went from being just a solid 15-point per game scorer to a big 18.5 points per game. Looked a lot more confident on the offensive end, handling the ball, scoring in the post, taking more threes. Like, he just looked more confident offensively. And even though his numbers don't hold up to a lot of guys around this spot in the top 25, his impact is huge. Like his impact, what makes the Cavaliers the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers are not a top tier contending team without Evan Mobley doing his part. And what he does defensively is just so elite that whatever he gives you offensively is also a big plus. And the big thing is that he can pop off even more. Like even with that big offensive jump he took, he still only took about one more shot than average. So like if he takes more shots and he becomes a 20-point per game scorer with the elite defense he has, he's going to be one of the most important and impactful players in the NBA. At number 21, we have Paolo Banchero of the Orlando Magic. Last year, Paolo averaged almost 26 points and 7.5 rebounds, both career highs, along with 4 assists, shooting 45% from the field, 32% from three, 72% from the free throw line in 46 games. Paolo had an amazing start to the year. If he has a fully healthy year, Paolo, he's an all-star. He makes all-NBA. Like, he was really, really good last year, especially early in the year. He dropped the 50 piece. Then, unfortunately, had the torn oblique. Missed a lot of time. Came back. It was still really good. Then had a really nice playoff first round against Boston where he averaged 29, 8, and 4 on a really solid efficiency. So, like, Paolo doing his thing. You know, he's one of the best young players in the league. One of the more underrated young players, I feel like, in the league. And I think, hopefully, with a full healthy year, because first 2 years of his career he was healthy, so I'm assuming and hoping that last year was just like an anomaly with an injury. But if he has a fully healthy year next year, he's for sure an All-NBA type of player, I feel like. I mean, the numbers he puts up, he's going to be the focal point of the Orlando Magic. The Magic, I assume, are going to be a playoff team. And if they're even better than expected, I think for sure Paolo makes All-NBA next season. He's going to have the numbers, the impact, and all that stuff. I'm very high on Paolo. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know I'm very high on Paolo. I think he's really, really good. And I expect him to have a really big year next year and show everybody that, why he was an number pick and why he should be talked about, so highly. At number 20, we have Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks. Last year, Trae averaged 24 points, 3 rebounds, 11.6 assists, which was a career high and led the NBA, along with a steal while shooting 41% from the field, 34% from 3, 87% from the free throw line in 76 games, and made the All-Star team. An amazing year from Trae, once again, even though the scoring numbers were the lowest since his rookie year. Very low scoring numbers, but again, the assist numbers, 11.6 assists, leading the NBA. Insane. Averaging over 11.5 assists per game. And yeah, doing his thing in Atlanta. A lot of people have been kind of off the Trae Young train last couple of years ever since, they made that conference finals a couple years ago, and they haven't really gotten even close back to that point. But Trae is still an elite point guard in this league, still an All-NBA-like player. And again, with the Atlanta Hawks, a lot of people think they're gonna have a great year next year, and I think Trae's gonna be a centerpiece. And I think Trae, is an All-NBA player if the Atlanta Hawks are really good like that. Trae Young makes All-NBA, gets an All-Star team, finally gets the respect he's deserved because he's been one of the more disrespected guys in the league. And yeah, I think this could be a big thing for Trae. If the Hawks are good next year and they live up to expectations and get to the playoffs, I think this would be big for Trae because a lot of people think like, is Trae the guy on a championship roster? Is he the leader? Is he number one? Does he still want to be in Atlanta? Conversations, is he going to be a Hawk? Do the Hawks still want him as their franchise or whatever? I think next year can clear up and kind of clean up all that stuff, and those talks can finally kind of be put to rest. At number 19, we have Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons. Last year, Cunningham averaged over 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists. All those numbers career highs, along with a steal, while shooting 47% from the field, 35% from 3. Both those numbers are career highs as well, along with 84% from the free throw line in 70 games. Made the All-Star team and All-NBA third team. It was kind of like the year of the Pistons, the year of Cade Cunningham last year, where he really exploded. 26, 6, and 9, All-NBA, 7th in MVP voting, brought the Pistons to the playoffs, had a really good playoff round as well, 25, 8, and 8 with a steal and a block in their first round series against the Knicks. Like, just an amazing year from Cade. And I've been a big Cade fan since coming into the league at Oklahoma State. He was really good. I made a video last year when they were losing 20 games in a row talking about Cade Cunningham and how good he is. And now he finally gets to show it. Now everybody knows how good Cade is. And yeah, he's going to be one of the elite point guards of the league for the next long time to come because he's still 23 years old. So he's going to be a elite guard, top 5 probably point guard coming very soon for Cade. And yeah, next year his numbers might even drop a little bit, but the impact is still going to be great because he is the Detroit Pistons, really, especially as the main ball handler and kind of like the star of that team. He's going to be just really, really, really good. I'm a big fan of Cade and glad that he's finally, showing why he was a number 1 overall pick and showing that he's a superstar in this league. At number 18, we have Tyrese Halliburton of the Indiana Pacers. Last year, Hallie averaged over 18.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, 9 assists, and a steal, shooting 47% for the field, 38% from three, 85% for the free throw line, and 73 games. Made All NBA third team. Not an amazing regular season from Halliburton. He started off very, very slow, but then got it together the second half of the year. The Pacers got it together the second half of the year and made All NBA. But the playoff run, 17, 5, and 8 with a steal on solid efficiency. But it was the moments that he had, the game winners, the clutch shots, and every round he had a big performance and moment. And he is the engine of the Indiana Pacers that led him all the way to the one win away from being NBA champions last year. Halliburton was just absolutely amazing. And again, even though the numbers don't really compare maybe to a lot of guys in the top 20 of the NBA, but the moments that he has, the impact to winning that he has is bigger than a lot of other players in the league that have maybe better numbers than him. Like, he is just built for the moment, the clutch moments, the winning aspect of the game. Like, he just has that on lock right now. It's really unfortunate we're not going to be able to see him play next year. We have to wait another 2 seasons to see him. But Hallie, deserves his flowers, deserves his respect and his credit for that insane playoff run that he had. And has really taken the hearts of NBA fans, whether you love him or hate him. Now a lot of people really love, Halliburton after that insane run. At number 17, we have Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. Last year, Brown averaged 22 points, 5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, a career high, and a steal, shooting 46% from the field, 32% from three, 76% from the free throw line in 63 games, and made the All-Star team. Jaylen Brown, solid year. Numbers did drop from the past couple years. The efficiency dropped a lot as well. This is probably his worst efficiency season of his career. His lowest 3-point shooting year of his career. One of his worst field goal shooting years. So the efficiency was not really there. The assist numbers were up and high, which is good. Wasn't the same impact, but we know Jaylen Brown still really good. Finals MVP, still very, very good. And now next year we're gonna finally see him kind of in a number 1 type role with no Jason Tatum for majority of the year, most likely. Jaylen Brown also had a knee procedure this offseason, so who knows how healthy he is, and who knows what the Celtics direction is. Are they gonna actually try to compete, or are they gonna try to go get a pick? I don't really know. But next year at some point we're gonna see Jaylen Brown be the number 1 on a team, which is what everybody's kind of been not hoping for, but wanting to see how good Jaylen Brown is as a number 1. And yeah, now we're finally going to get it. And maybe he can have another All-NBA type year like he did 2 years ago. At number 16, we have Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs. Last year, Wemby averaged 24 points, 11 rebounds, both career highs, along with 3 assists, a steal, 3.8 blocks, another career high, which led the NBA, along with shooting 47% from the field, 35% from 3, 83% from the free throw line. All those shooting numbers are career highs in 46 games and made the All-Star team. Unfortunately that we didn't get to see Wemby the second half of the year due to the blood clot, because he would have won DPOY, would have made All-NBA. It would have been a fantastic year. But now he's fully healthy, and we're going to see him back again next season. And it's just insane to see Wemby kind of live up to the hype. He was probably the most hyped prospect ever coming into this draft, and he had a really good rookie year, and he would have been an All-NBA player in his second year at just 21 years old. So just showing that he's putting the work in. He is what kind of we thought he was going to be defensively, just elite. He's probably going to win DPOY next year, finally. Average maybe around 4 blocks per game. And then offensively just growing. He started the year out kind of slow, but then he had a 50 piece, and then it kind of took off from there. Still shooting the 3 ball at a solid rate, scoring well, getting more comfortable, in his body. And yeah, just doing his thing. And I said it in my top 10 center video and stuff, but if the Spurs are better than expected, and the Spurs do vie for a playoff spot in the top 8 or whatever, he probably will get MVP votes next season, because I could just see it happening, if the Spurs are a lot better than expected. At number 15, we have Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. Last year, D-Book averaged 25.5 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, a career high, while shooting 46% from the field, 33% from 3, 89% from the free throw line in 75 games. D-Book has been an All-NBA level player for the past couple of years. It's unfortunate that he just won't make it because his teams have not been good, and now he's going to another era where his team's probably not going to be that good, so he's probably not going to get the recognition that he deserves as All-Stars, All-NBA and stuff. But D-Book is one of the best offensive players in the league. 25 points and 7 assists is just like, you don't see that walking around too often, especially on the decent efficiency. Last year was probably one of his least efficient seasons of his career, But you expect that efficiency to kind of go back up a little bit. And now that he's going to be the full-time number one again with no Devin Booker, no Kevin Durant, no Bradley Beal. He's going to be the full-time one, probably going back to full-time point guard responsibility as well next year with Jalen Green now over there. Like Devin Booker, I expect to have another amazing year. He's one of my favorite players in the league to watch. And yeah, he's really good. He just doesn't get the accolades I feel like that he deserves because he's in Phoenix and his teams are not very good. But we all know he is an all NBA, one of the most elite guards in the league. At number 14, we have Kawhi Leonard of the LA Clippers. Kawhi last year averaged 21.5 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and over 1.5 steals, shooting 49% from the field, 41% from 3, 81% from the free throw line in 37 games. Kawhi still doing Kawhi things, missed majority, basically the first half of the season, but came back second half of the year with solid. The numbers aren't amazing statistically, but he did have some good games in the playoffs. He had that great game 2 against the Nuggets. He averaged 25, 7, and 4 on 50, 40, 77 shooting in that series against Denver. And yeah, still doing his thing. Of course, all the talk about Kawhi right now is going to be about the other things going on with the aspiration and stuff. But Kawhi, still an elite player in this league on both sides of the ball. And at this point, we just got to expect that Kawhi's going to miss games, but we hope that he's just out there healthy for the playoffs. And if he is healthy for this playoff run, this is a very, very good Clipper team that has a chance to do something really special this season. At number 13, we have Anthony Davis of the Dallas Mavericks. Last year, AD averaged 24 points, over 11.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks, shooting 51% for the field, 28% from 3, 77% for the free throw line in 51 games. AD is still playing at an elite level. I feel like the last 2 or 3 years have really shown that AD is still really good at 31, 32 years old. Last year, with the Lakers, he was really good, 25 and 11 with 2 blocks. He got to Dallas and was still really good, had some solid games, but unfortunately only played 9 games due to injury. So the numbers definitely dropped a little bit from there. But, I think a lot of the Dallas Mavericks next year is going to rely on Anthony Davis and him being healthy, which he has been for the last few years, give or take. So, and healthy, not saying he has to play 82, but a solid 60-game season from Anthony Davis doing what he does. And I think the Mavericks are a lot better than expected. He also made the All-Star team last year. I forgot to mention that earlier too. But yeah, AD was still really good. He's still an elite level defender. And then offensively, he's really been doing his thing down the low post, down mid-range and all that stuff. Like, he's still really good. He's still a two-way machine. At number 12, we have Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. Last year, Joel averaged 23 points, 8 rebounds, 4.5 assists, shooting 44% from the field, 30% from 3, 88% from the free throw line in 19 games. An unfortunate, very, very injured Joel Embiid year last year. Only got to see 19 games out of him, and even his numbers were low. I mean, these are his lowest numbers in a very long time. So it was not a great year for Joel. We still are kind of in the unknown of like, what his health is like, what his knee and legs look like. I don't really know that yet. But it's unfortunate that we haven't really gotten a full healthy Joel year since he won MVP 2 years ago and he was leading the league in scoring. But, Embiid is still an elite player. He's still a top 5 player in the world when he's out there fully healthy. It's just that, again, we didn't see health last year, so unfortunately he has to get bumped down a little bit. But Joel is still an elite level player. And right now, it's just we're kind of in the unknown of like what his injury is. So we just have to hope and hope and wait that Joel Embiid eventually will be, we'll get to see him play a good amount of the season at some point. At number 11, we have Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last year, Dono averaged 24 points, 4.5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal, shooting 44% from the field, 36% from 3, 82% from the free throw line in 71 games, made the All-Star team and All-NBA first team. Donovan Mitchell, even though his numbers dropped, these are his lowest numbers in a pretty long time, he still made the big impact that Donovan Mitchell does. He has these superhuman, Superman, Spider-Man type moments where he just takes over games and is the driving force of Cleveland. All-NBA first team, top 5 in MVP voting. He was amazing. And then the playoffs again, average almost 30 points per game. Like, just doing his thing, really. And he hasn't had that long playoff run yet. Hopefully next year's the year that he does have it, so to finally get over that hump. But Donovan is still, one of the most elite guys in the league when it comes to just straight willpower and leading your team. Like, Donovan has done an insane job of that. So Mitchell, hopefully he has that one playoff run he can finally get, that next tier of respect amongst everybody. At number 10, we have Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks. Last year, Brunson averaged 26 points, 3 rebounds, over 7 assists, a career high, while shooting 48% from the field, 38% from 3, 82% from the free throw line in 65 games. Made the All-Star team, All-NBA second team, won Clutch Player of the Year. Brunson doing his thing in New York, being a superstar over there. Last year, finally winning Clutch Player of the Year, where he's just a guy where you get the ball too late in the game and you just feel confident that he's going to make something happen. Whether it's him going to get a bucket or whether it's he's going to make the right play, the right pass, just whatever you feel confident in. And yeah, leading the Knicks all the way to the conference finals, potentially can lead them to an NBA finals this upcoming season, with the gates being wide open in the Eastern Conference. Like, Jalen Brunson just has become a superstar. He's embodied the definition of superstar since coming to New York, where he's put the team on his back, done everything right, to put this team in a great position. And yeah, now deservedly gets top 10 player in the NBA type of spot. Like, Jalen Brunson has just been amazing. I can't wait to see what more in store for him. At number 9, we have Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Last year, and averaged over 27.5 points, 5 rebounds, both career highs, along with 4.5 assists and a steal, while shooting 44% from the field, 39% from 3, a career high, and 83% from the free throw line, another career high in 79 games. Made the All-Star team and All-NBA second team. Anthony Edwards has really established himself as a superstar, I feel like. An amazing year for him last year. The three-point shooting was phenomenal. 39% on 10 attempts is just insane. His playmaking still been solid. Clutch Player of the Year, MVP votes, all that stuff, all NBA. That even in their playoff run, he averaged 25, 7 and 5, and still did his thing, leading his team back to the conference finals again. So Ant has just been like pure superstar, leading the franchise type of things, and he's still only 24 years old somehow, and he's already done all this. And yeah, expecting another great year from him, expecting him to keep ascending on this list to being a kind of a staple in the top 10 for the next couple years to come. At number 8, we have Kevin Durant of the Houston Rockets. Last year, KD averaged 26 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block, shooting 52% from the field, 43% from 3, 84% from the free throw line in 62 games, and made the All-Star team. Kevin Durant still playing at a very high level at age 36, about to be 37 by the time the season starts. And now he's in Houston, which I really love. The Phoenix 10-year didn't really work out too well, even though he's still really good, obviously. But now he gets to go to Houston, a team that actually needs him. He could be a veteran leader on this team. He can fit right in as just being a guy that's just going to space the floor, shoot the ball, be the number one option score-wise, and just really fit in for this Rockets team that looks like set up to be one of the top teams in the league next year. Like, I'm very excited to watch Kevin Durant in Houston. And it's just testament to the aging process that some of these guys have had with these stars now. They age super well. Like, Kevin Durant's 37, still averaging 26, 5, 6, and 4 while still shooting dang near 50, 40, 90 every year. Like, it's just insane the things that Kevin Durant is still being able to do at this age. And now he's going to go to Houston, and I think he can provide so much of what the Rockets actually need. At number 7, we have LeBron James of the LA Lakers. Last year, LeBron averaged 24 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal, shooting 51% from the field, 37% from 3, 78% from the free throw line, a career high in 70 games. Made the All-Star team and All-NBA second team. LeBron, even though his numbers were probably the lowest in a very long time, the 24 points per game is actually the second lowest of his career since his rookie year. But I feel like his impact was just as big this is the biggest impact he's made in a long time as well. Finished 6th in MVP voting, his highest MVP finish since 2020, his second year with the Lakers when they won a championship. And yeah, his impact was big, especially defensively. I think he was huge. Finding a way to play next to Luka Doncic has been really great. And yeah, now he's 40, about to be 41 this season, and LeBron is still doing it. Still a top 10 player in the league, still being just as impactful as ever, still making all NBAs and all that stuff. And yeah, LeBron just still doing his thing. Very interested to see, is this his last year in LA? Is this his last year in the league? We don't know yet. We won't know until, for a while. But, just trying to savor the moments that we have left of LeBron in the league, At number 6, we have Luka Doncic of the LA Lakers. Last year, Luka averaged 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.8 steals, a career high, shooting 45% from the field, 36% from 3, 78% from the free throw line in 50 games. Luka, 4G injuries, but he wasn't as he wasn't as insane. He still averaged 28 and 7. Those are just regular Luka numbers at this point, but he just wasn't as insane as the last couple years where he was leading the Mavericks to the finals and all that stuff. Then he went to the Lakers and kind of got better and was still solid. Now he gets a full off season. We've seen what he's been doing with the health stuff. He was killing it overseas in Eurobasket for Slovenia, got him all the way to the like semifinal game. So like, yeah, he was doing his thing. And expecting a big year from Luka, a big bounce back year from Luka, and they're gonna need it. Lakers are gonna need Luka to really be like MVP, have the MVP season. Like Lakers are gonna really need Luka to be, like what he was in 23, 24, where he's putting up insane, like numbers. Even more than what he's already doing, 28 so he's probably gonna need more than that and more of an impact, for the Lakers to really get to where they want to get to. But we know Luka when he's fully there and fully, on his stuff, he is a top probably 3 player in the world. I won't be surprised if he jumps back up into that top 4, top 3 player range by the time I do these rankings next year. At number 5, we have Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors. Last year, Steph averaged 24.5 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal. He shot 44% from the field, 39% from 3, 93% from the free throw line, leading the NBA in 70 games, making the All-Star team and All-NBA second team. Steph doing similar Steph things. Kind of like what I said about KD and LeBron, like the aging has been insane. He's 37 years old, and he's still a top 5 to 10 player in the league just because of his, gravity, his insane shooting ability. He's still a game breaker. He's still a guy that really, like, when he's out there on the court, it changes the game, and everything has to be, focused towards him to opposing teams' defenses. The stats weren't crazy, his numbers were kind of low, a little bit his points compared to the last couple of years, but his impact was still there. And then the second half of the year when they got Jimmy Butler and Draymond started rolling, like then this team actually got going and Steph looked a lot better. It's unfortunate we couldn't see him in the playoffs fully because of the hamstring injury that happened in the Minnesota series, but Steph is still elite. He's still doing his thing. It's just amazing to watch Steph still be able to kind of have the impact that he does have still. At number 4, we have Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics. Last year, JT averaged 26 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, a career high, and a steal, shooting 45% from the field, 34% from 3, 81% from the free throw line in 72 games. All-Star, All-NBA first team. Tatum still doing his thing, his 4th consecutive All-NBA first team, leading the Boston Celtics. He's kind of become the point guard of this team. Like, he's kind of become the lead guy doing everything. His scoring numbers have dipped, but he's still making an impact. His assist numbers, career highs, rebounding numbers are really good. Defensively, he's still brought in. Like, he's doing everything. He's really sacrificed to help his team win, and they end up winning an NBA championship 2 years ago. Unfortunate that, he gets injured in the next series and that we're not going to be able to see him play a lot next season. Really sucks because JT is one of the best guys in the league. We'd like to see the efficiency go up next time he comes back, and we'd like to see him just keep hooping, keep doing his thing, making all NBA first teams and stuff. And as long as he's out there, the Celtics are always going to be a really, really good team. For him to be able to be 27 years old and have that happen, like being a guy that's like, when he's out there, his team is just so much better and already have the resume that he has, just amazing. And number 3, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the OKC Thunder. Last year, Shai averaged 32.7 points, a career high, led the NBA, along with 5 rebounds, 6 assists, a career high, a steal, and a block, shooting 52% from the field, 37% from 3, 89% from the free throw line in 76 games, All-Star, All-NBA first team, MVP, Finals MVP. An amazing year for Shai. We know he's been getting better and better as years has gone on. Really put himself in the All-NBA first team conversation, MVP conversation a couple years ago, and last year he finally gets his MVP, leading the league in scoring, going on a run, winning the NBA championship, MVP, Finals MVP, and scoring leader, in a year is pretty good. That's a really good year. So yeah, he's just been so amazing. I mean, he averaged 35 and 6 with a steal in their playoff run, and has really established himself as one of the top players in the world. As a guy that's kind of unstoppable in a way, getting to the rim, getting to the mid-range, getting to the free throw line. His passing ability, I really liked seeing that develop over the playoff run. Defensively, he's really good. He's been getting DPOY votes over the past 2 years as well. He just does everything on the court. He's a game changer out there, one of the most unstoppable guys we've seen in the league. And he finally got his championship. I mean, he's still only 27, and he's got a great resume of, 3-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, MVP, Finals MVP, champion, scoring champion. Like, his resume is getting kind of stacked right now. At number 2, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. Last year, Giannis averaged 30 points, 12 rebounds, 6.5 assists, and a block, shooting 60% from the field, 22% from 3, 61% from the free throw line in 67 games. All-Star, All-NBA first team. Giannis just being absolutely ridiculous. Another 30 in a row, averaging 30. You know, second year in a row shooting 60% from the field while averaging 30. 6.5 assists back-to-back years as well. Another block. Top 3 in MVP voting once again. Finished top 5 in MVP voting 7 consecutive years. And in their first round series against Milwaukee, he averaged 33, 15, 6, a steal and a block on 60% shooting from the field. So yeah, Giannis is just absolutely dominant. He's had a dominant Eurobasket as well, leading Greece all the way to the Final Four of teams, and yeah, just been great. And now, without Damian Lillard, with the Bucks not having an amazing roster around him, a lot of people are expecting Giannis to have another MVP game, like a historic year, and I think that definitely be in store. I would not be surprised if at the end of the year, Giannis has a insane stat line where it's like, dang, no one in NBA history has ever had this stat line before, averaged these numbers before in NBA history. Like, they can have that type of year. And if the Bucks are better than expected and do finish maybe a top 4, top 3 team in the West, East or whatever, he definitely could win an MVP, even with his team not having the best record, because Giannis is just absolutely that dominant, and he's an unstoppable force, you know, waiting in the wings to come out next year and just absolutely, you know, destroy people next year. And at number 1, we have Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. Last year, Jokic averaged over 29.5 points per game, a career high, along with 12 rebounds, 10 assists, and almost 2 steals. Both those numbers are career highs, while shooting 57% from the field, 41% from 3, a career high, 80% from the free throw line in 70 games. All-Star, All-NBA first team, second place in MVP voting. Just a ridiculous season from Jokic, one of the greatest offensive seasons we've ever seen. 29, 12, and 10 on 50, 40, 80 as a center. You know, just insane. One of the most ridiculous seasons we ever seen. Had some insane stat lines. 60, 61, 10, and 10 game. I think he had like a 30, 20, 20 game. He was just ridiculous, like literally unstoppable. You can't do anything about Jokic. In the playoffs, he averaged 26, 12, and 8 with 2 steals. 49, 38, 77 shooting, was 1 away from going to the conference finals. Doing it, you know, and Jokic, at this point, this is just expected. He's the best player in the world. No question about it. Just absolutely dominant. Can't really do anything to stop him. And yeah, expecting another great year from him next year. I don't expect the numbers to be the same, but then again, who knows? Maybe he does average another dang near 30-point triple-double again. Who knows? But now that he has an amazing team, this may be the argument, the best team around him he's ever had with all these weapons. Now expecting, you know, him to still be great, and expecting the Nuggets to be one of the top teams in the Western Conference once again, because Jokic is just that good and that down to that. You just need a solid roster around him, and he can really bring you to a whole different level. And there it is, my top 50 players in the NBA. All the rankings, all the stuff come down to this right here. Very hard list to make. Obviously, we got an amazing talent pool of players right now. There's a lot of players that didn't make the list. I thought for sure we're going to make the list and all this type of stuff. But yeah, once again, like I said, about all the other ranking videos, let me know down in the comment section below how you feel, what you would change, people too high, too low, what your list would look like, and all that stuff. I'd really like to know. And now we're done with the rankings for this off season. You know, so yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn on notifications, doing all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.